Hi, my friends. This is Trisha, your host. When we heal, the world heals. Coming to you to talk about the state of the world. Yeah, just a small thing, the state of the world, state of America, specifically to see how are you feeling. So many things on my heart and mind. Really had a struggle the past couple of weeks. I know I'm not alone in this struggle. Feeling like I woke up in this dystopian like nightmare of something I read out of a book or saw in a movie 20 years ago. And this is where we're at in America. So I just feel very called to speak, and I want to see who else wants to talk and join a conversation with me on Sunday, March 2nd at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you want to join me on Zoom, I want to have a town hall meeting about what actions can we take. And also, if you want your voice to be heard, you have something to share, then come and join us, because also community is so important, in person and online, to be in community, to see faces. So I am asking everyone to be on camera that comes, and let's come together and unite, because we actually do have a lot of power. We have a lot of personal power at this time, and we definitely have collective power at this time. And information is part of that power. So I am calling everyone who sees this, who listens to this, to wake up, to snap out of the trance. If you've been in a trance, because I've literally seen people over these last few years, like in a state of what I can only explain is what seemed to be a total trance over them, and kind of immersed in this cult. And now it's like, I think it's time to wake up and to easily see. And then there's a lot of us that just kind of like, if you're a light worker like me, you like to be in your bubble, not get involved in politics. But right now is the time for us all to rise and us all to speak out. And in America, we are in the middle of a takeover. I mean, there's no, we got to state facts here. This is just a fact. Um, they are making moves. These are classic moves for dictatorship and autocracy. And I think that it's very obvious. And if it's not obvious to you and you have questions, and that's why I want to bring some podcasts with answers. I want to talk about so many things, like other fellow nurses that want to speak, or healthcare workers, or just people concerned about what is going to happen without any of these safety nets. What does that really look like a couple months from now, a couple years from now? And then also, what does it mean cutting Social Security? I myself, as you have, I've paid into Social Security my whole life. I've paid into Medicare, Medicaid, happily for others that may need it, but also to know it's there for me. And many, many, many Americans are going to need Medicare and Medicaid in their older years, and possibly younger. So what does that mean? And then another topic, I guess I'm just bringing a lot of questions today, and then I want us to like unpack it and have some like further discussions of what does this mean? Like, what does this really look like when they cut this, if we let them cut it? And right now, there is stuff that can be done right now. For one, all of us speaking up, if you haven't already done so, email your congressman and your senator, call their office, like know your rights and take those steps, please. But right now, they're just taking the power, and the senators and like the politicians are just like rolling over, and they're caught up in fear, and we cannot count on them. Like, who we've been waiting for is us. We have to rise, the people. Power to the people. And we're seeing that like so clearly, the corruption and the layers deep of the greed and the cutting trillions for basic human rights, and for just middle and lower class Americans, especially, to be squashed by this, to really just hand this over to Elon Musk and other billionaires. This is not cutting our deficit. Not at all. This is just going directly into their pockets. This is a crime. And I don't know, I'm just saying, like, okay, um, I grew up and I learned American history, I learned world history. We learned about Hitler. We learned about, Nazi Germany. Hitler's bad. That what he did was atrocious. This was a horror. Many of us read Diary of Anne Frank, and it was so clear. There was no question, black and white. This is evil and wrong. This is good, fighting against that. And now we have Nazis. They're doing Nazi salutes, and we know they're Nazis. And a lot of what they're trying to gain in power is exactly like Hitler. And people are not rising, or we're not seeing the people rise. I mean, some people are rising and they're starting to gather in town halls and halls and in community, and that is really important. But we're not seeing those that we elected in this country stand up for us and for our best interests and for people. So we do have an opportunity right now. What they're doing looks like a lot of chaos, and it is chaotic, but it's also a plan. Like they're keeping you, they're flooding the zone, it's called. Like boom, boom, boom. It looks like so much confusion. What about this? What about that? To keep us caught up in fear and really not even knowing like where to look. Meanwhile, they're doing all of this, and then they're like, don't look over here. Because over here is where we're getting ready to do our tax bill, to where the less money you make, the more you're going to be taxed. And there's going to be even greater cuts, and giving more benefits and money through these cuts to billionaires and corporations. That actually, these are the things that put us under Donald Trump's first presidency. We had the greatest amount of deficit under him, and they don't care about that. So they're not cutting any like debt, none of that. They're just literally taking from the poor and then giving it to the rich. That's one of their objectives. But also, they're creating silos. Why do they want to get rid of Department of Education? They want to create these pockets to where people aren't educated, or they're going to be in this state, and maybe they come up with, somehow people come together in a community and create a school, but it might be run by like this the toxic religious rights, and women may believe some of these things that are taught, and there'll be like no oversight in that. But they're going to be in a silo, because that's a way that they can create power. Because us all speaking, telling our truths, and knowing what's going on, that gives us the power. And they're actually scared of that. So they are here to suppress you, to alienate you, to silo you, and crashing the economy, taking away your healthcare, taking away your ability to get food and have a home for your family. They want you scrambling and disempowered, so that way they can just do whatever they want, and then it'll be harder to overthrow that and change that later, right? And so I really myself didn't want to speak about any of this. And I'm going to tell you guys, I've been angry that I'm in a position that I have to speak about this. I get to speak about this, but the reality is, like, we don't have the luxury of not speaking as Americans. It's going to take all of our voices. And I'm asking everyone to choose. Like right now, if you are alone on a couch, like eating donuts, just like trying to Netflix and escape this because you're so paralyzed, like it's like, then do what you can to take care of you today. Get outside, meditate. If you're able to, please contact your senator and congressman and say, like, this is not okay with you. If you have the ability, and you've got your mental health is like, I think we all, I'm not saying we're not all on some kind of mental health, like this is affecting us, but I'm saying you really have the ability to take the next layer. Please choose an area that you can make a difference. Um, like I said, if you're a nurse and you want to pick the healthcare piece, which that in of itself is huge, uh, and that, but that might be the thing, right? Because there's so many things. But if we all pick the things, if you're an educator, you're a parent, you can say, no, I want schools, I want truth, I want straight, I want decency in my government. And also, we want diversity. The fact that they're ignoring the Constitution right now, a lot of people might not even be worried about that, but that is also they're coming after free speech. They're just they're coming after people that really believe in gun rights. They're coming after your guns. Like these are people that have lied over and over again. And for a lot of people that have been in the trance, what I have been hoping would really wake you up is this thing of America actually siding with Russia. And then this bold-faced lie that's such a clear cut lie of like Ukraine started the war and their dictatorship rather than what we all have known and we've all been raised on. And everyone, alive for most of their whole life knows, Russia has been the enemy. And when I say that, I mean the threat to democracy, right? And definitely we have not been on the side of aligning with them. So I feel like that is the clearest thing to say, like, wake up, please, wake up. It's the quicker that we get together and speak out, the less they can do. And we can stop this. So that's what I'm asking for everyone to do. Face the truth. If it's 5 minutes a day that you can face the truth, or share a story or listen to someone, the people they're firing people in the FBI. They're putting people in charge of the FBI that have no qualifications for that. Quite the contrary. Like the first time there's like, no, not even an FBI agent. The levels of just corruption, and it's just like America's for sale. Now it's like, oh, okay, if you want to pay 5 million, come on over. And then, Trump just let in these like criminals. So it's like, but meanwhile, he wants to deport people that are good, kind, loving people that actually are here contributing to our society. So this is really not a Republican, Democrat, Independent. This is an America thing. This is, you're born in America. I was born in a free America. Most of us got told this and knew, like, you won the lottery, man. You were born in America. You have this freedom. You don't have that anymore, right? My children don't have that. Or there's a great threat to that, right? That can be turned around. So because most of us alive right now have the luxury of not having to have been a part, well, none of us have been a part of a civil war, here in America. We've taken it maybe for granted, but now is the time. Like, do it for you, do it for the children, do it for the women. Like these men that are trying to take over in government, and understand that these are men and their views on women are frightening. And that they are so outward about it and they have no fear of speaking about this is so, it's scary. It's scary, but it makes me very angry too, because it's like, no, that's not the kind of society that I want to live in. And that I believe most of us Americans do not want to live in that world. But we've got to get up and speak up and be loud and help younger people also that are struggling and like looking towards these men. that are somehow recruiting them into these beliefs about women and that like rape is okay and to talk badly and to not treat women. I want to say a real man, but I'll say like a healthy man, the healthy masculine. It's like they protect children, they protect the feminine. This is not a men. And also, like young men really need an example, as well as apparently a lot of older men need that example as well, to say, no, it's not boys will be boys. No. And not hell no, it's not that. That is not acceptable. That is not okay. So those are my thoughts. The other thing I've been thinking the last 24 hours is someone who, has read the Bible. I'm a lover of Jesus. So this is really like an outcry I think I have, but what's really gone through my mind in the last 24 hours in particular is what would Jesus do? I had a t-shirt that said that like in the 90s. I think we all heard the WWJD. What would Jesus do? And what are Jesus's words? What is the red letters that we read in the Bible before? Like, right? And Jesus would not take from the poor. In fact, didn't he say to feed the hungry, to heal the sick? Jesus would not be doing this. And Jesus, I believe 100% would be flipping some tables. He would be flipping some tables over all of this and saying no. And that a lot of people are using the church or things like that. It's just, I don't know what to say. I had to, once church became just a political machine, even in the early days of it, I exited that. But I didn't leave Jesus. I love Jesus. And I believe people just distorted. I know people have distorted his words, his religion, and it's been taken over by like this cancer, is all I can really say about it. So really think if you are a lover of Jesus, you were brought up in that tradition, or you consider yourself a Christian, like really think back to like, what would Jesus do? Jesus is about love, and caring for one another. What would Jesus do to a Hitler salute? Who doesn't think he'd be turning a table and flipping it? You all know he would. You all know he would if you're familiar with Jesus and his teachings. Then you know this. You know this. And so I'm really just out here to appeal, to my fellow Americans to rise. And to other people that listen to this and see this in other countries, thank you. Thank you, Canada, for standing up. I've seen people in the UK standing up. A lot of people are standing up against this because this is also affecting the world, of course, but also they're just standing up because they're seeing what's happening in America and they're saying no, just like when we saw what was happening in Germany with Hitler during the war. We got involved and said no. And other countries are also doing that. And I appreciate that. We do need that as well. And we need to keep our global connection and we need to keep communicating with each other. And power to the people. That's me. That's you. That's your neighbor. That's your brother. That's your sister. That's your children. They're literally stealing from you and from your children. What are you going to do? Are you going to just put on Netflix? Truly, unless you really cannot, and again, this is not to shame anyone who really, right now, they're paralyzed in fear or they just cannot. Like, whatever you need to do, like if that is really what you need to do right now, then there's those of us who are going to rise. So this is not to put shame on anyone that they cannot join this fight right now. For a multitude of reasons. They're sick, physically or mentally. Not at all. But that's not most of us. Most of us have something we can do. Most of us have an hour a day that we could give to this, that we can get in discussions, that we can get in online, that we can um, join a community in person to make a difference or lead it. So, like, yeah, just what would Jesus do? WWJD. I know a lot of you all remember that. And again, I'm not using it. One of the things I hate is people creating shame in the Christian church. So this is not to shame anybody at all either. It's just to say like, but perhaps people that obviously are like doing true evil in his name, right? But um, but it's just to say like, really think about that. What would he do right now? Would he stand up for the children? Would he stand up for the children? Yes. Would he feed the children? Yes. Would he protect the women? Yes. Yes, 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 yes. So I do believe that Americans overwhelmingly know the right thing to do right now. And it's time, like I said, if you spend an hour or two on social media, get off, right? Like focus in on what can you do. Can you create a podcast? It's easy. Message me. I'll show you how to create a podcast. You want to put something on YouTube? But what can you do besides just the scroll? Like our attention span has gotten very short. So what can you focus? Can you give 15 minutes a day to meditate on this earth that's filled with peace and love and change? Because also change is like going to take action, but also meditating and collective consciousness rising. We need to hit it from like all angles. So speaking of that, then that's why on March 2nd, Sunday, I want to have at 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time this meditation. We'll meditate as a group, but also a town hall where we can just have discussion. What are your concerns? And let people share their real stories of what's going on in their life. And let's talk about what's happening to also just um, to ground it a bit into our bodies because we've all been in shock, not to accept it, but to integrate it a bit to just know like this is actually really happening and that we do have the power to change it. And we have an opportunity to change it. And there's a lot of power in us telling each other that and coming together. So power to the people, power to the people. Come on, wake up. A lot of you in your slumber, it's time to wake up. A lot of you in the trance that used to tell me this is just a nice guy, good businessman. That is a lie. And many of you, I know you know. I mean, just put on the news and listen to him saying that Russia wasn't the aggressor in this war. Like, I don't know. It's hard for me because I've seen watching just a small amount of him, the lies that's come out of this man's mouth. It's astounding that he's gotten to where he is, but that's also from a lot of lies and a lot of corruption. So, but now this is going to impact you and your family and your children and your bank account. And you were born in America, land of the free. Land of the free. That is what America is. You came here to be in America. And some people immigrated here to be in America, land of the free. They're trying to take away those freedoms, trying to take away the Constitution. We don't have a king. He can put whatever picture he wants and pretend it looks like a Time magazine and tweet it or whatever. But no, you are not a king. And we fought in this country. People died in this country, did not have a king. So no, we're in the land of the free. And a lot of that has to do with law and order and judges and the judicial branch working independently and having its power and the Constitution. So people have died for you to have this freedom and for me to have this freedom. And I do not take that lightly, and I thank them. Do it for you, do it for the future children, that they be born into the land of the free too. Take back America. Stand up to the tyranny. No, say no to dictatorship. You can find the answers yourself. You are a sovereign being. Look for the information and look for the light and look for your personal power because you do have personal power. And us all together have collective power. So let's take it back. Let's take back America. Let's make it the land of the free, right? All right. Sending so much love to everyone in the world, sending love to my fellow Americans. I love you. We're going to get through this. We're going to thrive through this. We're going to create change. And we've got the power. Hope to see everybody in the town hall. Just send me a message and I will give you the Zoom link.